that fixed 102. We've had very few accidents at those spots since then. So I appreciate your time, and Stoney, maybe you and Gordon, Highway Director of the Year, maybe include that back on. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on. We have our consent agenda.
I'll be recusing Denise.
Does she need to recuse herself for the whole?
Physically move herself away
No.
from the table.
No, for the whole, or can we just remove what you need?
I'd have to remove two, actually. So is that what you want me to do?
Well-
Just ask to pull them?
I'm leaving that to you.
I mean, if you want to take the time to do that, it doesn't matter.
It's fine with me.
You want me to pull them or?
Yeah, just pull them.
Okay, so that recusal, I guess you won't need. Now my even wants to. Okay, I'd like to pull the minutes for June 13th, 2024. And 5A 2012 motor vehicle abatements.
Okay. That's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So then let's continue with the rest of the consent agenda.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the minutes for June 13th, 2024 and 2012 motor vehicle abatements.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to now, you can.
Well, I can abstain.
Right, okay. So looking at the minutes of June 13th and the statute of limitation abatements from the collector regarding the 2012 motor vehicle abatements.
So move.
Is there a second
Second.
discussion?
I have a comment. Yeah, do you go ahead?
Nope, go right ahead.
I think as town council members, it's incumbent upon us to pay all our taxes, to be able to sit up here and face these people when they're struggling. And then we find out that you have something.
Cheryl, I'll say it for you. Actually, let me turn this on.
Oh, I didn't turn it on either.
Yeah, I did have some taxes that I owed on a motorhome that was ruined in 2012. And I had disputed the taxes because my vehicle was not registered at that time. So everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Any further discussion? Kelly, I was wondering if you could clarify for people, because it doesn't come up that often, about the statute of limitations. What exactly that means? Because it's not just the motor vehicle, it's also tangible abatement.
Tangible. We never abate real property unless there's an actual variance or an error. But there's a statute of limitations on collections for motor vehicles and tangibles. We couldn't actually legally take anybody to court or we have no legal access to get this money. So to artificially inflate our fiscal statement with receivables that we will not collect every year, I would say the community writes off receivables for tangibles and motor vehicle taxes that are unpaid. So this
It's
is
not just Foster.
no, not just Foster. This is 2012. That's why, because they're over 10 years old. We do follow up with collection agencies. We use all kinds of services. We send delinquent notices. We do quite a bit to collect. But after time, you cannot keep long-term receivables. There's no way to actually collect the money. So we write them off once a year. That's the statute of limitations. The other abatements you see periodically are because there's an addition or an adjustment that has to be made due to some sort of change or error.
Mhm,
These are specific to just writing off a receivable.
mhm. Thank
So
you.
how much, so you're talking
money was owed for for 10 years
Yes.
and it was never addressed and paid.
Well,
no
it
interest.
was addressed in the way that we tried to collect it.
How much did it cost the town to try to collect the money?
Well, we have a collection agency, which we pay a percentage of what they collect. So when they'll charge us, so say they collect $10,000, we'll pay them a certain fee to do that. And then delinquent notices and upkeep and whatever not, but yes, it does cost, but ultimately, if you're not gonna collect the money, we write it off. And plus, we would have 30 years of receivables and you have to keep a detailed subsidiary ledger of all of that, and there's no legal way to collect the money, so.
Please.
Oh. There is a motion on the floor.
Yeah,
Can
so
we-
we're in discussion, right?
We're in discussion. Oh, we've got two. Can you come up, state your name, address? Thank you.
My name is Kathy McElroy at 18 Barb's Hill Road. So I have two questions. One is, what is the statute of limitations? Because you said there is a statute, but you didn't give it.
10 years.
Okay. And the second question is, couldn't there have been some sort of a tax lien?
Not legally, no. I mean, we
That's only
can't,
that's
on
on
real estate,
real estate.
Okay.
so we have tax sales, we have other ways of collecting for real estate. There isn't one for motor vehicles. There was a motor vehicle lock and block, so you could block somebody's registration. So that was a big help. But what happened is over time, people just started registering their cars in somebody else's name or just working their way around it or having it in their kid's name or vice versa. And luckily, the motor vehicle one is the larger one. It's almost $17,000. And as we progressed with taxes and taxes get more expensive, that's the one that people will struggle with. They won't pay. But the tangibles, there's really no way. And that's a smaller amount, 4,400. So the motor vehicle tax no longer exists. Eventually, we're going to be phasing out of that altogether because it no longer exists. So no state is really going to help you collect something that's 10 years old. And no collection agency is really going to be that interested, but they are interested and they do help us with the more current ones and the ones that are 5 years old, and they periodically go. And it's generally a lot of the same people over and over and over again, or the same businesses over and over and over again for the tangibles as well.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Cool. Name and address.
Nicole Anderscavage, 69 Foster Center Road. If I may just ask a couple of clarifying questions on this. So, Ms. Ross, you had said there's no legal way to collect on the motor vehicle taxes that are owed, due and owing. Has there ever been discussion at all about doing a small claims collections book account type of matter and proceeding with it that way?
That's what the collection agency does do for us. They will take them to small claims court.
So how many have been put into small claims court
Like,
recently?
actually, some of the ones that are on here now, and they've settled for the later.
May I interrupt for a second?
So for example, if someone owes for 2012, 13, 14, 15, they may have now paid for 15, 16, 17, and 18, but they didn't pay for the 12, 13, 14. So that might have been like the compromise in court or leading to court or whatever not. But yes, they do take them to small claims court.
So wouldn't that be off the books for the 16882?
No, I can't abate anything. So the only way to get them off the books is this process. I don't have the council can abate taxes. I can't abate taxes.
Okay.
But hold on, Nicole, let's stay with that for a second. It went to litigation and monies were collected. Why didn't it come off the rolls?
It did the
Just
latest
said different
It
dates,
did.
different dates.
for 15, 16, 17, and 18. And for some of these,
But not all of them.
some of them, you can't even find them.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question. Has everyone on the rolls gone to litigation?
No.
What's the choice that we make
I
to
don't.
not?
The collection agency, that you use, the professional court, they determine whether or not they can find them, whether they can even serve them notice, whether or not they can go to,
So everyone that is found has gone to collections?
or everyone,
And going to court?
we send everybody to collect. And I know that sounds terrible and harsh, but we send everybody to collections regardless of who they are, how long they've been on. So we take the longer term delinquents. So not only are they blocked from re-registering a vehicle, they also go to collections.
Has everyone on the rolls that owe taxes gone to collections and gone to court if they've been found?
No, I don't believe so. I think.
Why
they-
would that be the case?
I-
Who
I'd
makes
have
that
to-
determination?
Can we move on now at this time? Because I think we're getting
The col-
delving
The
into,
collection agency based on the
areas-
viability and ability to collect.
Well, I just want to know if I'm gonna vote to waive a fee, I should know that everything was done in our power to collect the money.
Everything was done in our power.
Well,
right.
So, I mean, I'm not a collection agent. I don't even really know how those things work except for that they do serve them notice. They hunt them down. They do a lot of work. So at some points, this is a lot of people too. I know it seems like a lot of amount, like a high amount, but some of them might be higher, 1,100, 1,200. Some of them might be $50. They're not going to hunt down somebody down for
Right.
$50. So
That makes
the bigger ones, they do actually proceed.
okay.
Okay,
So-
Fair
thank you
enough.
for clarifying.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
So there's been a motion, it's been seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And I abstain.
Yes. I oppose. You oppose?
Yes.
So that's 3, 1, 1. Thank you. So now I'm looking out, we have a lot of people here. One of the items that we have is Molly for the grant writing position. I didn't know whether the council would want to consider moving, that would be under new business, number 6, grant writer expectations and payment. Molly Cohen, if somebody would want, if the council would want to move her up to this position.
I'll make a motion to move item number 6 under new business. Grant writer expectations and payment, Molly Cohen, up to this company.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so as you know, during our budget workshops, et cetera, Grant had talked to us about having a grant writer come forward and work with us, and Molly has done quite a few grants. So within your packet, you have her resume. And is this advancing agency your agency? And that's her agency. So Grant, do you want to explain a little further what you were thinking? Where, I saw, okay, thank you, Grant.
Yeah, so around May, there was a pretty rushed effort to apply to, I believe, earmarks from Senator Reed's office. And there are a lot of grants that come up on an annual basis, so being proactive rather than reactive is what I was thinking. Molly has a lot of experience writing grants for nonprofits. I think she'll be really helpful for the town. And her scope of work is, I believe, what's on the advancing agency sheet that the council has. So that would be the expectations, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Molly, do you have anything you'd like to say, or does the council have anything? Oh, we talked about payment being part of, if I'm correct, Kelly, part of when we get grants, there's an administrative fee. Is that the correct term?
I thought we decided that we couldn't do that because some of the grants, it would be prohibitive to to use that and pay a portion of the fee. But I think when we were talking about it during the budget, we had originally budgeted it in planning. But when we were looking through it, we reallocated it, not really reallocated it. We do budget for contingency. And we said that we would
That's
pay
right.
that out of contingency because that's
Mhm.
not earmarked for any specific thing. And that would be, it's not incredibly expensive and it's just, you can modify the cost as you go. And rather than add to the budget that was already taxed, we would pay for it out of contingency.
Okay, and I'm noticing in your packet here that you have budget. Do you want to address that?
Yeah, and I'd love to just clarify that the focus of the work is around building the capacity of Foster to have cleaner, better infrastructure to apply for grants. So not just doing active grant writing and focusing on individual proposals, but more figuring out how do we create standard protocols, templates, so that anybody who is working on grant writing within the town has clarity about what is the process we follow, what is the language we use, rather than having it be up to whoever finds the grant or trying to start as much from scratch. So the scope of work doesn't focus on direct grant writing as much as it does on making sure the town has the tools that it needs to know, what deadlines are coming up, what's the right language to use, what are the forms, who are we supposed to talk to, who has to approve things in advance, a lot of those logistical pieces that it sounds like historically folks have been doing as they come up.
I thought we even talked about the possibility of some templates for certain grants that are repetitive, which
Yep.
would really streamline
That's
the
within
process for all of us. Yeah.
Yes.
so,
That's within your packet here.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's basically looking at 3 core pieces of work, a grant calendar that says, okay, what do we predictably know we're applying for? Or what are opportunities so that months in advance, we can start the right conversations with the right folks to be ready for it. A standard operating procedure that clarifies who has to approve what, when, who is able to authorize things. And then the grant template and
Mhm.
standard forms so that, folks don't have to go hunting for, having been a grant writer, go hunting for something you sent last year, try and copy paste, figure out what's up to date and what's not. So really just trying to simplify the systems more than focusing on individual grant applications.
But you will do
So this
grants.
this individual grant. So this scope of work is not for individual grants. This scope of work is just for creating the tools for the town to be able to apply for the grants.
Okay.
But it is looking across, working across departments and figuring out where there are areas where, can you have one template that most departments can be using? So it's not focused on individual opportunities. It is focused on the systems piece.
So you would not be writing individual
Correct.
grants? Grant. Mr. McGregor, come on up. Can you come up forward? Thanks.
Molly and I met with, I believe they're a nonprofit called RCAP Solutions, and they're able to do anything besides put a shovel in the ground for applying for grants, writing grants, organizing grants. So we would probably be able to utilize their services as well if staff time was limited.
Did you say pro bono?
So in talking, in talking to them, they were clarifying that pretty much all of the priorities that the planning department has identified that they want to pursue funding for, they exist to help towns put together grant applications, do the actual writing pieces. So knowing that, it's just a matter of figuring out how does the town make sure it has, the opportunities identified, the right language and forms in place for them to apply. It sounds like this is a nonprofit that's able to do the actual work of continually applying for the grants themselves.
You had a question?
Yeah, I do, Molly. You might have answered this, but maybe I missed it. You may have already answered this. I may have missed it, but who hunts for the grants? Because sometimes we've come up against it where we don't have the timeline available because we don't know what we don't know. Do you help with that?
Yes, so the second deliverable is the grant calendar. So step 1 is really just figure out what if folks already know is on the timeline that they're going to apply for. And then looking at what are additional opportunities that can fill in the gaps between there. So for example, last year I reached out, or this spring I reached out to Grant because there's a farmer's market grant that would be perfect for this town. I do a lot of work at the farmer's market, but we didn't have the time and opportunity to figure out how do we apply for this year. So the idea would be to just look at what are all of the things that we've either applied for in the past that will renew and we can apply again, or opportunities we've missed or new opportunities, and then put them in one place so folks have that foresight down the road.
Excellent. Thank you.
So
I just have a question. So is the grant calendar separate from this? Is this what you just explained to us?
it has 3 parts.
So it has 3
It-
parts. There's the
Okay.
SOP, the standard operating procedure.
Yeah, I'm
That's who
looking,
does
all
what.
right, I'm looking over here.
The grant calendar and the templates.
Okay, so that's all included in one. Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
How do we pay for this?
Well, as Kelly had mentioned, we were
But do we know what we're paying? That's what I should say.
Yeah.
Is
It's
it
within your-
Says
$2,500.
$2,500.
10 million, so 25.
Can I just speak for this, Denise? Because
Go right ahead.
as a person who stays late a lot of times
Yeah.
for the last minute grants, because we just find out about the opportunity and then I rearrange and I stay
it's
till
worth it.
whatever, to have a calendar is a lot more valuable than,
Mhm.
than we think. A template and just some assistance so that we have procedures in place and something to follow would be very
I think
helpful
it's-
to me.
yeah.
And I think a
it would be
future
a
planner as well.
plus.
So I would appreciate the.
Mhm.
I think
I-
it's great.
This is
I think
great.
it is, yeah.
And I
right.
think people were
I
wondering
like
that question.
That
so.
are Forgot what it was. I only got ARC down. The group.
The
group.
Oh,
Ah,
advancing agency.
Advancing
Yeah.
agency.
It's
Thank
down
you.
the road, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
She was looking for the nonprofit agency, the exact one report, so she could put it in her notes. Yeah.
That
I
was
have it in
the,
my email, I can look it up really.
ARC, you had just mentioned it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
ARC. Okay.
RCA.
Thank you. I was saying ARC. Yeah, I was saying ARC. It's right.
It's RC.
Yeah. I rewrote it. Oh, 'cause I was writing ARC like in Noah's. So, okay. So what's the pleasure of the council?
I think it's excellent.
Okay, well, we need a motion. Excellent doesn't work.
I make a motion to appoint Molly Cohen as our grant writer,
No.
our, what would you call
Grant
her?
writing expert. Highness.
Second,
As a consultant to writing grants.
second.
Okay. Further discussion.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Grant.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Chris
Opposed?
Stone.
Thank you. Thank you, Molly. Thank you,
Molly.
Grant.
This is
That'll be
great.
great. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Me three.
Okay. So we're moving on now. Is there anybody else who has to leave soon? Moving on to public hearings. Number 1, amusements. Grant. This is our first hearing. I will open up, it's been a while since we've done one. I will open up the public hearing. It has been advertised appropriately. And this is our first public hearing for this particular ordinance, which means the general public can ask questions. The council will not be voting on it at this time. We will hear it one more time and then the council may or may not address it. Grant.
Okay, so a few months ago, the council voted to remove the requirement for event licenses. And only, I would say, about half of the ordinances were removed at that time. So this is a follow-up to that previous action. The first section 6-58 is assignment of police officers after application evaluation. Because there's no longer a need for event licenses. The proposals to remove that section, as well as 6-59 barriers to issuance. 6-60 violation of division to result in revocation. And 6-61 waiver of bond, license fee, and other division requirements.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions regarding those? Chief, come on up.
So when I looked at the agenda originally, I didn't know what this meant. Assignment of police officers after application eval shall be removed. What does that mean in English?
We removed the event permits, but Grant just said, if I'm correct.
But what is it,
that-
assignment of
so-
police, why are we mentioned in it? I don't understand.
Well, it's being removed.
Being removed.
It wasn't removed before when we voted to remove the event permits. It was still left in there.
It's not on.
But isn't this,
Sorry.
isn't for amusements, just bear with me, isn't amusements? Aren't police officers required after a certain amount of people are expected at an event? Does this have anything to do with this?
That's for our mass gathering. And this is for, Grant, do you want to explain more? Or,
So when I first proposed the changes to the event licenses, I was trying to do things like take the zoning board out of the picture because the zoning board regulates on long-term uses of land rather than events. There was some comment from the audience that we've never followed the event permitting licensing that was in place at the time. So the proposal was then amended on the floor to remove the event licenses, which was done. These 4 sections remained. The first section was a section that explained that police officers needed to be assigned to an event after that application for the event was evaluated. And so what is being recommended, I guess it should be in a bullet point when it starts to say shall be removed. It should say the title was previously assignment of police officers after application evaluation. That section shall be removed. Mass gathering permits fall under a different mobile food establishment section of our code. It's somewhere in the businesses chapter.
So. I apologize. I'm still lost.
Go right ahead.
What are we not assigned to do
That was an
anymore?
existing law that we removed, existing ordinance that we struck that. document.
I understand that, but
Originally, it said that they would review the application and assign.
And assign a
officers
police.
Based on the evaluation, we removed all of that.
so right now, assignment of police officers will only be for a mass gathering. It has nothing to do with
Right.
any more
Right.
application of vows. Gotcha.
This is just kind of housekeeping, right, Grant? It's just cleaning the ordinance
I understand.
and getting.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
Any further discussion?
Well, mass gatherings would be
The food-
anything besides food truck. I mean, couldn't it be someone has a huge, without blow up at their
A
house?
mass gathering is only related to food trucks.
Just 2 food
Yeah,
trucks.
We don't do residences. Well, yeah, like I think we talked about it.
We did talk about it and I,
So if I have a large graduation party for my child and I have 200 people, I don't get a mass gathering. Do I?
No, you wouldn't.
I don't think so. So
okay,
thank you.
Julia,
You still have to abide by noise ordinances and
Exactly.
corner laws.
Exactly. That's where the chief
Right.
would come in. He'd
Right.
come to my house and
the neighbors
throw
were,
everybody out.
right,
So,
okay, so we're ready to move on to the next ordinance, number, chapter 18.
We would have to do 1249.
Oh, 12, I'm sorry,
it's social
Okay.
media.
it is. So, no further questions on that. Julia, do I have to do for each chapter, or can we just, it was all advertised on one, so I can. Thank you. I don't want to be saying it 20 times. Okay, so now we're moving on to the chapter 12 businesses. Again, this is continuing on the public hearing. It's our first hearing on this. We will not be voting. Go ahead, Grant.
Back in around February, the council approved an increase in the amount charged for existing business licenses. We based the existing business license list off of what the town clerk provides for the application currently. There's 10 to 15 types of businesses covered on that application, but not every type of business is covered. So this recommendation is to say, if we don't have a doctor's license in town, the doctor would get a general license. So the category would be other businesses, as opposed to getting confused and saying, oh, well, this doctor checked off that they're something else. It could cause paperwork issues down the road. So consistent with the amount that was passed by the council back in February, most of the licenses were amended from whatever the previous rate was. Oftentimes it would be $25. They increased to $100. So the license fee and renewal fee for the other business license would be $100. And we use the definition of business as it's defined. I believe that's in the Limited Liability Corporation Act in the state. So basically, if you have a hobby that's not really your occupation that you profit on, you wouldn't be impacted by this. It's only an occupation or a trade.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? Thank you. Moving on to chapter 18 nuisances. And there, oh, you're, oh, wow.
Some of the planning members are more involved with the writing of this ordinance, so I'll let them present it.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Susan Joyce, 90A Windsor Road, and I'm a planning board member. So and the mic's on, right? Just a reminder on the dark sky ordinance, our comprehensive plan notes that Foster is one of the best dark sky environments in northeastern US. And it also notes that the planning board will have a dark sky ordinance proposal to the town council in the summer of 2024. So we're right on time.
Good for you guys.
I know.
One thing we did.
Hillary Duff Fortune, who is here, and I worked on the dark sky ordinance draft using existing ordinances from Charlestown and Middletown. We also tapped into the expertise of Bob Horton, who's also here tonight, who is manager of astronomy labs and public outreach at Brown. And Bob put us in touch with a colleague of his, Francine Jackson, who helped draft the Charlestown ordinance. And she was also one of the 5 state advocates responsible for getting Rhode Island recognized as an official dark sky chapter. So she was very helpful to us, and she reviewed everything that we put together. The ordinance is 8 pages long, so I thought I was just going to hit a couple highlights. Is that
That'd be great. That's fine. Thank you.
The purpose of the Foster Dark Sky Lighting Ordinance is to protect and promote the public health, safety and welfare, the quality of life, and the ability to view the night sky by establishing regulations and a process to review for exterior lighting. This ordinance shall take effect upon adoption, and its provision shall supersede any inconsistent or contrary provision in any other ordinance. But I just wanted to note here that we've been working for the last, I don't know, year or more, anything that was related to lighting tied back into this dark sky ordinance. So it's not like we're going to have to backtrack. So a lot of things that have come before you have already taken this into account.
Thank you.
This article establishes standards for exterior lighting in order to accomplish the following: to protect against glare and excessive lighting, to protect the ability to view the night sky and help preserve the quality of life, to prevent light trespass, to promote energy efficient and cost-effective lighting, to ensure that sufficient lighting can be provided where needed to promote safety and security, to provide lighting guidelines. And then there are various sections in this, but section 18-34 provides definitions. Section 18-35 states that all outdoor lighting shall meet the requirements of this ordinance. This includes, but is not limited to, residential, commercial, industrial, and public lighting. The town may require or restrict lighting when public health, safety, and welfare are concerns. Section 18-36 lists the criteria for illumination levels, fixture design, lamp correlated color temperature, lighting control, flagpoles, gas stations, and installation and maintenance. Section 18-37 covers the administration of the ordinance, such as during a subdivision, land development plan review, zoning relief application, or building/electrical permit application process. A lighting plan for any outdoor lighting must be provided. So, and any plans that come before the developer would have to include lighting in there. Section 18-38 covers enforcement by the building official, and section 18-39 covers non-conforming lighting. So that's and you have, I believe, the full proposal in front of you. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I do one question.
Go right ahead.
Grant, this is
Microphone.
This is for both of you.
Okay.
For either one of you can field it. If we were to cut to the chase, you've been around for a while. I've been on the zoning board for a while. And Grant, you've been involved in this deeply. Can you see this posing a problem for the average citizen who comes to Foster to build or a business? Do you think that there is going to be much interference with business or residential homes? Or
I mean, I'll give a brief
Give it a shot.
answer. I think because a lot of this has to do with lighting being downcast and not being extremely bright. This conserved energy, it's probably more financially feasible, and it could wind up reducing glare onto other neighboring properties.
Okay. So quick thought. A ball stadium wouldn't pass.
Well,
Stadium
I mean,
lighting.
Maybe there's a way that you could implement lighting that could pass, but I would say.
So that would come into play.
Kind of difficult, yeah.
That would come into play, though. This would be considered, seriously, have to be considered, this ordinance, when we go and start to interpret plans and drawings.
Yeah.
Okay.
right, it would have to, and there are certain like town events, I think That wording are carved out of that, right?
Municipalities, wouldn't
Oh,
municipalities?
sorry. And one thing back to businesses too, another of our planning board members had pointed out that a lot of these lighting it's so common, and I think Bob also mentioned this, is so common that none of this should be burdensome. That was the, and he has
Like-
expertise in that.
Like Grant had suggested, a lot of it's downlighting.
Right, yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
and there's certain,
I just like to hear bad news before it comes.
Thank you.
any other?
Any other questions or concerns at this time? Thank you, Susan.
There are some dark sky brochures, and if people wanted to take anything afterwards, or the council would like to take it.
Oh, I'd like to see, thank you.
Susan or Grant, can I ask? Okay, so we don't have lighting at the ball field yet. Will this affect
That's what I was wondering.
that?
too. I think that's what David, that's
Because-
why I asked if you have a
Well,
municipality.
Yeah,
Are you
It-
exempt?
it
Yeah,
can,
well,
but
I
We'd
just
like
wanna
to see some
ask.
games happen at night. There are practices happen at night before
Right.
we would think that the
So-
lighting's necessarily needed.
And there are, I would have to find the exact place in here, but I believe
Yeah.
that that's.
Municipalities are exempt and the safety issue
Okay,
of,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
And it is, there would be like time, it couldn't be on all night.
Night,
Right.
there'd be time limits.
Yeah.
Section 1835D3, lighting associated with town permitted events is
Okay.
exempt.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
okay, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
I knew I read it somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay. Oh, I can't see you over. Go ahead. Can you come? Don't trip. Thank you. I couldn't. see.
Gordon Rogers, 61 Cucumber Hill Road. One concern I have is, which relates to when we put buildings up in the town, if it houses an animal. Now commonly your lots are 300 foot wide. That's a common lot in the town of Forster. We have a lot of horses, we have a lot of riding rings, we have a lot of farms. You're required to put a horse barn within 100 feet from the sideline. So that basically puts your horse barn right in the middle of your 300 foot.
Mhm.
You're farming. You can't put the barn on a boundary line. It has to be basically in the middle of the lot.
Okay.
Most of your riding rings are 80 to 120 feet in distance, 80 wide, 120 foot length. You would, if you want to put a riding ring and light it, which they do in the fall when you're feeding your animals, you have no other choice but to put your riding ring on the boundary line. It's legal to do that. Now, you're gonna have a lighting issue. You're gonna affect equestrians, you're gonna affect farmers. I work late sometimes. I have to light my fields up. I got spotlights. I shine them in the fields. It's to do my work, especially with equestrians. As we get more into the town, you don't allow them to put the horse barn on the boundary line. You allow them to put the riding ring. And riding rings are lit. When it gets dark at 3 o'clock, I've seen them out when I deliver hay, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock, giving lessons in riding. This will be directly affecting farming and equestrian in this community, and I would think twice about eliminating some of them. And even if you get a neighbor that doesn't like what's going on, they can use that as a toy to affect their neighbor, because they'll go right through the zoning list. What can I get my neighbor on? I'm not dealing good with him. Oh, he's got lights on the boundary line. I'm gonna send a building official out there. He has to abide by this. He has to enforce it. So just use caution when doing it. And that's just one, and I'm sure there's others out there, but that's an important one. Thanks.
Thank you. Can you come up and state your name and address, please, Mr. Horton? Just don't trip.
Gordon, I'm not, that's, 1 second, Bob. I'm not so sure that's not a safety hazard.
You don't have your,
I'm not so sure that that's not a safety hazard, having that in the egress, that. Is it? The camera, it's tripod?
I'll move it out here if you want.
Yeah.
I have a right to film.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't say
No.
that, but you don't have a right to block the egress.
oh, that's what, I thought you were talking about the light.
Yeah.
I was like,
No,
what
no,
are you
no,
talking
this is,
about?
because Bob was trying to climb over it. We don't want to see him
Okay.
fall.
Okay,
Yeah, it's fine.
Go ahead.
It's fine.
Bob Horton, East Killenly Road. A
Could
picture
we
is
just
worth,
have one conversation? Thank you.
a picture is worth 1,000 words. I encourage anyone who has any questions or concerns to visit darksky.org. This is the International Dark Sky Association. They have just a wealth of information. Some wonderful pictures showing different types of lighting, how improper lighting causes a lot of glare. Properly shielded lights do the same job. They illuminate the area that needs to be illuminated. There's cost savings because you can get away with a smaller wattage lamp if it's properly shielded. So there's energy savings. This is about conserving energy. And it may seem like to the individual, I'm only going to save a little bit of electricity, but collectively, if everyone does this, it adds up. It benefits all of society. And your concerns, Gordon, I know there are exemptions in other ordinances in other towns. This doesn't necessarily mean you can't do those things. I think other ordinances have called for, put lights on timers or don't leave them on all night, just use them for when you need to use them. There are going to be people who have security concerns. They want to use a floodlight. That's perfectly acceptable, in my opinion, as long as it's on a motion sensor or a timer. So it's just not left on all night. So it's not wasting energy and it's not lighting the sky all night. So I haven't looked at the details and what was drafted. I've looked at other towns. We made some recommendations, but there's always exceptions that can be made to accommodate everybody's concerns.
I was just gonna ask that, Bob, because Gordon's right. I mean, you don't want to have something that's irreversible, something that's ambiguous where one person might consider this fine and then the other person has an issue and goes to the building official. So we have to read it and really look at this and then break it apart and see if it can be amended.
Yes, I think, and that's a good approach. I think everyone's concerns should be listened to very carefully.
And that's why we have more than one. So,
I have a question. So regarding the sections that Mr. Rogers cited about horse areas needing to be towards the center of a property, I'm not sure where that regulation comes from. And I think it's also important to note that right to farm, if you are a protected operation under the Right to Farm Act, you don't need to listen to local health and safety regulations. If this is a nuisance ordinance, then certain agricultural operations may not need to comply with these restrictions.
okay,
Interesting.
thank you. Moving on, Grant, to chapter 6. Nope, we're not there yet, are we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Moving along.
thank you. We are. Look at that. Chapter 16, manufactured homes and trailers. Before you begin, in our packet, we have section 16-85, but on the agenda, it is not listed. Is that a problem, Julia? It was advertised.
Yes, you can't discuss something that's not on the agenda.
Okay.
So you can only do 81, 82, and 83.
Okay. All right, Grant, just so that you know that. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't remember the House bill number, but there was a bill that was passed recently that says manufactured homes are a permitted type of residence on any property, basically in the state of Rhode Island. Foster had already set a precedent by allowing manufactured homes. We've allowed them for a long time. When we were writing these, we were kind of learning as we were going. At this point, the legislation has been passed. So section 16-81, we had previously written that manufactured homes were only permitted if they were grandfathered in or as a temporary residence after a disaster. So that's no longer true. The proposals to eliminate the last sentence as it's currently written in section 16-81 and replace it with a citation of the state building code regarding temporary structures. That's for in the event that there's a disaster that happens at your house and you need to have a temporary living structure. So section 16-82. Again, temporary structures are cited in SBC 1, which is the state building code. And the 1 and 2 family residential code is SBC 2. So what we're doing here is we added some definitions back when this came in front of the council a few months ago. We had said that a manufactured home meets the federal definition of a manufactured home. A house trailer is the type of structure that you would put in place after some kind of disaster happens that renders your house uninhabitable. And what was the other one that we use? house trailer manufactured home. A mobile home is one that is grandfathered in. So this just clarifies some language and it cites the correct sections of the state building code, which were previously not correctly cited.
Great, I have something to say. So when that was voted on, I voted no. The bill that had passed through the House was changed. It had said that municipalities shall allow this. And that was changed before it passed through the Senate to May. So it was represented differently. And it didn't pass the way you had read it at that time. So we are the only town in the state that has voted to allow mobile homes on any.
No, that's
residential.
not accurate because we don't allow mobile homes unless they're
I'm sorry,
grandfathered in.
manufactured homes, it's a different name now.
And that's also not accurate. There are municipalities that allowed manufactured homes before this. There's different zoning districts in different towns, so certain zoning districts might not allow them. But residential zoning districts would. Anything that's covered in that bill would allow a manufactured home. And I'll look at the legislation to see if the statement changed from a shall to a may, but we were already grandfathered. Well, we set a precedent where we were allowing manufactured homes because they were permitted by the building official. So despite what it said in the zoning ordinance, we've been allowing this since like the 1990s.
So I think where the confusion, because I have gotten several calls on this, is between a mobile home, a manufactured home, what they mean. Now, my very first home was a manufactured home, came down 4 trailers. And I lived in Warwick.
Modular?
A modular home, manufactured, and it came in 4 pots.
Yes.
And on trailers, which is also a manufactured home. A modular home and a manufactured home, I think of as one and the same. Is that not, I'm sorry, I'm hearing off to the side. Is there something somebody wants to add to my conversation?
I could clarify it because it went through the Senate and the House. I was deeply involved in it.
Then raise your hand and come on up. So tell me what the difference is between a manufactured and a prefab modular.
Modular home comes in multiple parts and it's
Mhm.
put on a permanent foundation
Yep.
that could be a slab or a 8-foot pole
Mhm.
that you can
Okay.
walk down the stairs with a bulkhead. That is a modular home. A mobile home is anything that's considered more than 320 square feet, at least 8 feet wide or more, or 32 feet in length more. Those are the categories on a mobile home. In 1974, prior to 1974, or 76, what we call mobile homes were being not built to proper building standards. So a code was enacted in 1976 and the name of the mobile home was changed to manufactured home, which is a home of that size or bigger on a chassis that is basically towable. So from 1976, they come with a HUD plate. There is no difference from the mobile home in 1974 and the manufactured home in 1977. They're interchangeable, the same. What happened was the standard of building them in the code changed, and from that point on, they had to be called manufactured. So a mobile home, manufactured home, is a house trailer. That's what we call them. They can be rolled in and put on a slab. Now let's go back to the bill. The bill was presented that this was going to be allowed in every town and municipality, and it passed the House already. It hasn't passed the Senate yet. The House version that did pass is very important. You can bring it up and read it. In the first paragraph, there was a double negative. This section shall not apply to mobile homes that are not in a trailer park. So the bill was specific to trailer and mobile home parks, not like was presented townwide. Get ahead of this. Go ahead and do it. You had 2 members on this council said whether it said that or not, I agree with it, and I think we should have it in this town. That's on record. Then, when I actually spoke to the presenter of the bill, because on the Senate side, they handed them all out, and he got it, and I called him up, and I asked him to review the hearing that I spoke this and clarify the difference between a mobile, manufactured, one and the same, and modular. He did it. He knew what this would do to the state of Rhode Island. So he further put insurance in the bill, because he knew he would be voted out, to change the word shall be allowed. Now, remember, back up to the double negative. This section shall not apply to mobile homes or manufactured homes that are not in a trailer park. Look up the definition of a trailer park. It is 4 or more mobile homes on one piece of property. So when the final bill was amended in the Senate and then back to the House and finalized it, that double negative stayed. And the communities weren't may, or the word shall was removed, and may did not have that. Well, you always have the choice to allow them townwide. You've always had that ability, and you did it by doing it that night.
But Gordon, we have a stipulation in the town today that says you can't take that example you gave of as a home and plop it on a property without a foundation, a well, and a septic. It can't be mobile anymore to qualify, except in the case when you have home damage, you get a permit to renovate your home, you're allowed to put a mobile home that's on wheels.
This council voted to allow mobile home manufactured homes on residential properties.
On foundations with wells and septic.
Correct. I have
That
a
have to be-
manufactured home. I have a mobile home next to me. It's on a slab. So those are now allowed. Prior to 1970, when 74, 76, the town outlawed them. And they said, anybody that has one, you are grandfathered in.
Yes.
Yes.
So what has gone on over time is these got older and nobody stopped from adding on to them. So I'll give the example. The one that I purchased, God, 20 some odd years ago, originally started out as a 12 by 40 foot. There had been 2 additions put on it prior to my even purchasing it. There were 2 additions off the bat. So they had added square footage. So when I went to replace it, the argument was, well, you can't replace it with anything bigger. That's the zoning. Well, then you would have not allowed the expansion of the original.
Yeah.
So that was what went out the window. And I was allowed to replace it with a 12-foot or 14-foot wide by 72-foot long because I was replacing an existing one. There have been no manufactured homes that I know of that have been allowed in the town that have not already pre-existed on that property. The vote that you took was allowing mobile homes, manufactured homes, which I've already explained what they are, on every residential property in the town. Now, along with the ADU that passed in the state of Rhode Island, I asked this question point blankly in the Senate hearing. If a town allows mobile homes, manufactured homes, a house trailer, 14 feet wide, on an axle with ties and a hitch, on a slab considered a permanent foundation, because I had to put it on a slab, I had to update my septic system, and I already had a well that met all the requirements. We've now passed an ADU law. Would you be allowed to put a second mobile trailer if the town allows that on a residential piece of property? The answer was yes, but it cannot exceed 60% of the main mobile home size. So if you put up a 1,000 square foot mobile home, which this town allows, you've now just passed an ADU law that will allow a 600 square foot mobile home. So if I was going to move to Foster and I could buy a 5-acre lot right now under the current law, put a $15,000 septic system in, drill a well, which I would have to do for a $500,000 house, and put a 3-bedroom septic system in, I could bring in a 2-bedroom, 70-foot mobile home. I could bring in a 600 square foot mobile home, tie them into the well and the septic system, and that is allowed in this town. And I will tell you, there is not a community out of 39 other than a town of Foster that allows that. I call them all. This town allows it, and you have fed a bill of goods.
One second, Grant. So how do we accomplish allowing modular homes?
You already allow that.
Mobile home. See, I think what Denise and Heidi were bringing up, well, I know why Heidi was bringing it up, but I think Denise, we had brought it up before. The definition of modular I mean, manufactured and house trailers had gotten away, I guess. No, it's the one and the same, you're saying?
They are.
Yes,
Great.
so a modular home, like I said, comes in multiple boxes on a trailer to transport it. And it is put on a cellar where you can go down and have all your furnaces and everything on. That is a modular home. They stack the trailers back up
Yep.
and they leave. A manufactured home is the new name from 1976 that used to call mobile homes, that has a HUD plate embedded on and put on the chassis behind the hitch and the wheels.
That it passes basic standard code.
Over the road and codes and everything else, because the standard has been upgraded, and that's how you're allowed. If I bring one in now and I don't have that plate, the building official can say no unless it predates this one.
Okay.
Those tires can stay on that trailer hitch can stay on. If I want to pack it up and run it down the road to California or Florida, I can do that.
Okay.
Unstrap it with the straps and go.
Yep.
Modular, manufactured, two completely different things. The confusion is the transportation. A modular comes in on a trailer, gets picked up by a crane and set.
Yeah.
You can do that with a manufactured home, but you're picking up the chassis and the axles and the wheels and setting it on a slab.
Right.
That was clarified in the hearings.
Thank you. What's
Thank
that bill number? What's the bill
Okay,
number?
so
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking for it.
a couple of things to clarify here.
96.
The statement that this chapter shall not apply to manufactured homes that are not located in a mobile and manufactured home park, that is in Title 31 of Rhode Island General Law. There is then a section 2 of the bill that passed, which is the zoning ordinances section under Title 45. And that says under the permitted uses section, it was changed from a shall to a may, but they're different sections. So to say that it only applied to trailer parks that's not true. To say that we were sold a bag of goods or whatever, I've been learning these ordinances from the day I started. I'm not from Rhode Island. I picked them up pretty quickly. We're making an honest attempt to figure this out, right?
Mhm.
The other thing is the town of Foster has a zoning district which encompasses 97% of the land in the town. The AR zoning district is basically the entire town. So other municipalities, they have zoning districts that are residential and they have zoning districts that are commercial, open space, whatever. So it's unlikely that every single zoning district in another town would allow manufactured homes, but in Foster, if you allow it in one zoning district, you allow it in the whole town.
I think I'm really confused here because I thought these were all a manufactured home or trailer were for temporary purposes.
So that-
Not to be permanent. A modular home could be permanent here, but not a trailer or a manufactured home as it's described.
So and I don't know where the definitions that were referred to by Mr. Rogers of a house trailer are existing in the state laws, but the Zoning Enabling Act does not define the term house trailer or mobile home. So Foster is allowed to clarify through its own code. They're allowed to write in definitions that don't exist in the Enabling Act, but where the Enabling Act defines a term in plain English, we have to follow it. So we do that for a manufactured home. And I think that manufactured homes, I mean, if you ask our building official, he would say that there have been manufactured homes permitted in this town. I don't have an example. I think there was one on T Parker Road, but you'd have to ask the building official.
Last time.
Yeah.
Parker Road.
So at any rate, I think it's good because of the cost of building materials. I think it's a decent option, and I don't think that there's that many negatives to allowing manufactured homes on foundations.
So let me just go through this again because it's, my mind right now is like, boom, 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 boom. A mobile home is a manufactured home.
Yeah.
A modular home is not a manufactured home, even though I consider it, but according to the state,
I believe the
a
chassis is the
modular home-
distinction.
a modular home is
The word-
pieces and pieces. So a manufactured home has the chassis, has the chassis.
Right.
Thank you.
They use it in the bill and I got nervous when I read that part of it.
Because I've talked to several people, okay, in regards to this, because I've been getting a lot of phone calls in regards to this. A manufactured / mobile home has to go on a foundation, whether it's a slab or an 8-foot foundation. It has to have a septic and it has to have a well. It also has to meet all the building codes. Am I correct?
Yes,
A mobile home that is allowed temporarily in our town for somebody whose house burnt down, a tree fell on it, those do not have to have a foundation, et cetera, and they're only allowed temporarily,
Right.
right.
okay?
Yep.
So now a mobile home that's only allowed temporarily could be put on a foundation.
It could be, but
And
it doesn't need
then
to be.
it has to, because our mobile homes that we allow temporarily are not generally hooked up to the septic,
Yeah.
are not generally hooked up to the well.
Yeah, they need to be
So
removed
if
within a
we
year.
look at our manufactured homes that have to go on a slab, can we say in our ordinance, you have to remove, and don't jump on me, please. Can we say chassis has to be removed?
I don't think you can do that. They're built on it.
I don't think that you can.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so it needs to have a legal foundation, but you couldn't say the chassis has to go. The manufactured home is permitted.
If it's on a slab, it does have to.
Well, I think we're gonna have to consider this more. Really do.
Okay, well, this is our first hearing. No, we can't vote on it
Well,
tonight anyways,
what I mean is what
and-
our opinion was prior.
but we do have,
Seems like there's a little bit more to discuss.
but we do have
Needs to
under
be
old
reconsidered.
business the request to reconsider ordinances, section 16-31, 16-57, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
We do. Okay,
Oh, that's up next.
yes. Okay, that's why I wanted clarification. Do we have any other questions or concerns? Because I know that there have been people who have been calling me, and I don't know if you're sitting here or not, regarding this particular
I've gotten
ordinances.
Yeah, it's worth discussing.
We're all getting calls.
So I just needed to have it in my mind what it was. Thank you. So that ends our public hearing. I'm going to do my 3 and 3. Is there anyone that would like to say anything in favor of any of these ordinances that have been presented? Is there anyone that has anything to say in favor of these ordinances that have been presented? Third time, is there anyone that would like to say anything in favor of these 3 ordinances? Moving on, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to these ordinances? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to these ordinances? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition to these ordinances? Hearing none, I'm closing the public hearing. We will be discussing it again, actually, in a moment. So, Mr. Stone, you requested to have the request to reconsider ordinances, section 16-31, 16-57, 16-58, 16-59, 16-60, 38-2, 38-272. To all, after that's been reconsidered, is to reconsider ordinance sections. So. go
I did ask for this.
Denise, the procedure for this would be a motion to reconsider.
Right,
That has to
first.
go and
So-
then discussion. for
Right, so
reconsideration.
that's what happened last time. It wasn't listed twice, so go ahead. Your request, go ahead and make a motion.
I make a motion to reconsider ordinance sections 16-31, 16-57, 16-58, 16-59, 16-60, 38-2, 38-272.
1631.
1631, he said 31, yep.
Thanks.
Is there a second?
Second.
Cheryl, you did? I think Cheryl beat you to it.
To what?
Seconding?
I will second it.
Okay, I thought you had already.
And now we can
Go.
discuss it.
Oh, gosh.
After reading it,
We don't have to discuss it now. We just,
Oh,
so we
okay.
made the request, so we, Thank you. So then the next one, we can discuss it. So the request has been made, it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Yep. So now we can move on to the reconsideration of the ordinances
Oh.
stated. So now
Pick one.
I'll accept a motion to reconsider those motions, yes, those ordinances listed.
You have that, that's already passed. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. This. Go ahead, Chris.
Pick one at a time.
What do you want to discuss?
After. All I want to do is change my vote. It's not gonna change what happened, but after reading it several times,
Well,
I just want to change my vote.
and I think
It's not gonna affect
So,
anything.
Julia,
based on.
if I
just
make-
Reading it before.
if I make a motion, I remember this from the last time we did this. I would make a motion in the affirmative to approve ordinance sections. Are these the same? These
Yep.
two? They're
Yes, I
exactly the
just-
same.
yes.
Okay.
No, because one is to
Request
request
and
and
one is
one
to
is to
reconsider.
reconsider.
Okay, so I make a motion in the affirmative to approve
Mhm.
those ordinance sections 1631, 16-57, 16-58, 16-59, 16-60, 38-2, and 38-272.
So moves.
Okay, I'll
Now,
second it. Oh, no, I made the motion.
you made the motion
You
and,
seconded it, David.
yeah.
Second.
Well said.
So now these are not the same as the ones that we were just discussing, but they're related.
Mhm.
They are related.
They're related and there's still that confusion regarding modular. I'm finishing. I saw your hand this time. Thank you. Modular versus manufactured versus trailer.
So you're thinking we might be out of order by separating them?
I'm
Until it's
thinking,
resolved?
I think we need to discuss. Maybe you put it in the positive, so if we all say no, we can go back and revisit. And I feel bad for Grant and the planning board, but there seems to be so much confusion in regards to that. Oh, there you are, you moved. Grant, okay, so that, I mean, that's where my mind is now, because I'm not sure.
It's not black and white.
It's not black and
It
white,
is-
and I think I need to have a better understanding. Grant, come on up. I know you're,
These sections are different than what we.
right,
just-
those, that's what I just said.
Right.
Those are
so,
different, but this related.
All right,
Yes.
let's see if maybe we could simplify it a little bit.
Perfect.
So the bill that passed was initially written as a shall statement. It's now a may statement for towns and cities to allow manufactured homes on any lot zoned for single family use. 97% of this town is zoned for single family use. The commercial zones are zoned for single family use. 100% of this town, except for the municipal district, is zoned for single family use. If the council thinks it's a good idea to allow manufactured homes as not an affordable housing by definition, but a more affordable housing situation for people closer to my age with the cost of materials and building costs going way up, then great. If you don't want to allow that, then you don't have to. So the planning board thinks the best planning practice is to allow that. It's not going to devalue properties. They're decent structures. It's a reasonable place to live. But if you don't want to allow it, you don't have to.
And I'm not saying I just need a better clarification on it. So as you were speaking, what I thought, I know Gordon, while you were speaking, I was wondering if we want to have a meeting with the council and the planning board, because the planning board certainly has a better understanding of what all this means than us having, 4 meetings on this to discuss it. So I'm wondering if we, and I can't tell you how to vote, but if we vote no on this and then have a meeting with the planning board to have your expertise explain to us, or at least me, to understand it.
No, because if we all understood it and we're in agreement, we wouldn't have had the questions we just had on modular versus mobile, right?
True.
So I
Okay,
mean, we obviously,
That's correct.
we're obviously still a little bit in the dark when it comes to exactly what we're looking to do here.
It's just not black and white.
it's not, and I'm not sure what is the right thing to do.
But I understand Grant's premise that if it was
Mhm.
changed from shall to
Yes.
may, we can pass it and have the freedom to not allow it or allow it.
Right,
But that
Then you pick
depends
and
on who,
choose.
and that depends on who's in charge.
That's right.
That's correct. too,
Mr.
David.
Rogers, go ahead.
I'm just gonna be real quick and read one sentence that's not brought up, but maybe it'll help.
Name and address.
Gordon Rogers, 61 Cucumber Hill Road. The only thing that was changed in the bill was the made a shall.
Yep,
This not shall apply to manufactured homes that are not in a trailer park, which means it only applied to.
and you found that bill number then, I'm
Yeah,
assuming?
2989,
2989, and that's the house?
that's both, it's gonna be both, they're both the same,
Okay.
they were both changed, 2989 sub A would be the change. Now, we went in and it's been explained to you about length and size. So it actually describes what a manufactured home is. And in this section, a manufactured home shall have the same definition. Now, remember, when I said it says multiple chassis, you have modular homes where they come in and put
Mhm.
multiple signs. So manufactured trucks are transportable in one or more sections, which would also be modular and manufactured, which is traveling in a mode of 8 feet wide and 40 feet or more in length. And when erected on site, it's 320 feet or more square feet, and which is built on a permanent, this is it. Which that is built on a permanent chassis,
Mhm.
not modular homes do not built to a permanent chassis. So
So,
these were the questions that were asked in the Senate, and it was clarified.
Yep.
Can I come in with one with tires and a hitch and pull it off a year later? Yes, that's considered a manufactured home. You tell me a manufactured home that's not built on a permanent chassis. That's why when you strap them down, a slab is considered a foundation, because if you have a hurricane, it's gonna take the whole thing. The only thing that's gonna be left is your straps,
In your chassis.
6 wheels and a chassis.
okay,
So built on a permanent chassis. That's clear. It's unambiguous. So that's what you pass townwide. Unfortunately, 99 or 98% of your town is residential, and this law was specific to residential zoning. And you
Okay,
just passed
so-
that.
I threw out a suggestion. I see that you have your hands up. My suggestion is also to meet with the planning board so you can bring it forward at that time, if that's all right with you,
Yeah,
Grant.
but I have one more thing, it's pretty quick, just.
Go ahead, Grant.
So this talk about the double negative here. The chapter of Rhode Island general law that was amended to say, quote, this chapter shall not apply to manufactured homes that are not located in a mobile and manufactured home park, which meet the criteria set forth in the zoning chapter definition section. That is in chapter 44, mobile and manufactured homes. It is an addition of the very last section, which is saying that anything under that section of Title 31, Chapter 44 shall not apply to anything that's outside of a trailer park, a mobile home park.
Okay,
Now, the permitted uses in the zoning enabling act went from a shall to a may. But to say that this bill flat out only regulated
okay.
mobile
So-
home parks, that's not correct.
We're gonna take a vote tonight
Mhm.
on this reconsideration. Where keep in mind that it is made in the positive. So if you wanted to stay, then you're gonna say yes. If you wanted to change and say no, you're gonna say no. Okay? Then I'm going to suggest that we set up a meeting with the council and the planning board. We have these bills with us, okay, that is being discussed tonight, and rely on your expertise on what you've done. Okay? So a motion has been made, it's been seconded. All in favor? Opposed?
No.
No.
Opposed. Thank you. So it does not pass. We will schedule it. Grant, I will reach out to you and we'll schedule a time where the planning board and the council can meet. Okay, does that work for all of you?
Yeah, we can schedule a time. What was the action date?
The action is taken that these did not pass. We reconsidered them and we have now voted unanimously no, so that we can meet with you and reconsider. Now, they might come back again.
Yeah.
And if they
Just
come
for
back.
the purpose of clarity and
Right.
being able to answer the constituents who called with concerns that we can't answer.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so
Not that
that's
it's
what
not a
it,
good idea or a bad idea.
Schedule a meeting quickly.
yes, we will, we will.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon.
So we're moving on to consideration of charter amendments. So we had discussed in the past, the land trust, and Heidi, you were not present at the last council meeting.
No.
And I know it was something that you felt strongly about.
Mhm.
During that June 13th meeting, when we were discussing it,
Mhm.
I had proposed that I'm not, because we have a certain amount of time that we have to get this in on, and the August 8th, I believe, Mrs. Dillon just sent me a email today stating that we needed to have it by August 8th and to be advertised. So we're meeting a deadline. We're not quite sure of what the percentage is of what we would propose to bring forward. So what I suggested, but I wanted to wait for your vote to be here, is that we hold off until the next council can make decisions and look at it, give it, vet it out more than what we have in this short period of time.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't vote on it, because I did want you present. So, that's on there. We also have the town manager. That was a discussion we had before, and, I had reached out to just, towns, cities and towns that I knew of. And I guess Kelly, you reached out to Richmond.
I just Googled
Oh. Okay, well, I reached out to Randy Rossi for Smithfield, and he sent me quite a bit of information. And I also reached out to Mr. Bream from West Greenwich, and he sent me stuff. When I've been thinking about it and reading through this, to have it, it would be on the ballot for November.
Yes.
And then it could be implemented. We do not have monies put aside for that. So we had talked about in the past doing the capital budget. Thank you. The capital budget, and saying that we would kind of ease that in, doing it in bits and pieces. And I'm not sure you were here for that one. The
No,
June
at
13th.
the last one, no.
So we talked about easing it in. So I'm wondering if we want to move forward with the town manager position, we can't implement it in in fiscal year 2025. Would it be that if it's approved, it would be implemented in fiscal year 2026 to put monies aside? That was something I just thought about today. I don't
That's
know.
how it'd be worded on the ballot.
It would be worded on the ballot that it would not be until fiscal year 2026, much like what we had said with the capital budget, that we would increase that. Right now, it's at 2%. We said that we would go to, I think we said 2.75 or 3, and then go to 4. We did it in increments, right? We had said in increments, because we didn't think that 4% all at once would be accepted. Okay, so I guess right now we just need to decide if any and what ones we would want to put on and what that would look like.
I'm not in favor of adding another position to the town.
Okay.
I'm not, and as I'm going through the different examples that you got, these are all duties that people already do. So why do we want to have another employee to do that. I don't think that taxpayers are really gonna be in the mood to pay for another employee. And even if it started out at 16 hours, which I had spoken to Kelly about this, and given that these proposed duties are already done by other employees, what is this person gonna do for 16 hours? Wait for some like disagreement, some department issue, and that falls on us. And to me, it feels like a fall guy for the council. All of this is on us. This is all
I
on
would
us.
agree. I would agree.
So I'm just not in favor. I don't think we need the added expense. I don't think we need somebody to start at 16 hours and then become full-time benefits and the rest of it. I think, everybody is doing their jobs, so I don't think we need to duplicate it. That's
Okay.
just my opinion.
Anybody, and for clarification, I reached out because there had been discussion.
Oh, no, I know
about
there
a town
was.
manager.
No, I
So I reached out to
agree.
get, so
Yep.
we have something to look at.
Always, but I can't disagree. It's a duplication of effort
Cheryl?
in a lot of areas here.
I read some of these descriptions of the town manager and they'd really have to be redefined before I would approve it. Because they're too.
And again, it might be too late.
Right,
So.
you're right.
I agree with both of you, but I think we need to improve our efficiency
Agreed.
in the town hall. So I don't have the time to do it.
And here.
I don't have the time to do it. So I think we should have a manager there that's able to do it. That's just my opinion.
So how would you,
I don't know.
okay. I think knowing now what Mrs. Dillon sent me saying August 8th is where it has to be advertised. I think August 7th, the wording has to be done. August 8th is, Julia, she sent me this. I think this was here prepared.
Can you get it?
That's all you guys have voted
Okay,
because that's what you voted for last meeting. This should you guys.
right. So, I'm not sure that we're prepared at this time to implement a town manager or put
Well,
that on.
You're right, if we can't define
Right,
it,
if we can't define it and what the.
roles and responsibilities,
Yep.
we would have to
You
wait till
need to put your
2026
microphone on.
anyway.
Yes. Yes, it would mean you would have to wait 2
You'd
years.
have to wait 2 years.
And,
We would have to. Have to- it would
And then
have
we're
to be
gonna wait
and
budgeted-
a
that
year
would be up
anyway,
to the
but-
next council,
It would have to be budgeted for
right?
2026 at the earliest.
So, Kelly.
So Denise, my question, my problem is that if you do this and you make the changes that were put in for just that one section throughout the charter, there, for just to add a section for town manager,
Okay,
right?
yep.
Or town administrator, because there is a difference if you look at the two
Yep.
roles supposedly, right? From an oversight of the council, I think there's a difference between the town manager and the administrator. If you do it and by simply adding a section and you don't address it, all the ways that it conflicts
Right.
throughout the charter,
Right.
instead of doing what I think Chris is trying to accomplish, instead of accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish, the contradictions throughout the charter will actually create more problems than
I don't think we can give it due diligence.
in this amount of time,
Denise,
because
I-
it's
I
a
think
week.
You're also, the town's due for a charter review committee next year anyway.
Yes, yes, they are.
So that's my concern.
I would agree. I think we had high hopes on things, but
No, but it sounds reasonable.
so. Looking at it. The land trust conveyance tax fee, what are the thoughts of the council? Does anybody want to move that on or do you?
We don't have time. You see, we won't have time.
Yep. So as Julia pointed out, a charter review committee needs to be established next year.
Mhm.
So it might be something that they present. Town manager, we just discussed all that, certainly not.
Mhm.
I will say, I think we have enough discussion and information regarding the capital budget to move that forward. What is it?
Oh, the 4%.
Right, but
Yes.
doing it staggered is what we had discussed.
There was a motion, last meeting for it to be a minimum of 3% for fiscal year 2026 and a minimum of 4% for fiscal year 2028,
right.
so that you could phase it in.
Phase it
And
in.
it's my understanding that Kelly already has it at like 3.27%.
Correct.
Right.
So we've already funded the, yeah.
It just sets minimums. It
So-
doesn't set maximums or require,
Right.
it's just the minimum.
So, and I think we have to work on the PR for that, to get that out to people that already you're doing this. And it doesn't mean your taxes are gonna go up because we're doing X, Y, and Z.
We're just
So-
putting more money aside.
We're putting more money aside for,
Placing money
It's
collected.
just-
It puts a hold on it. So so that if, now that you've budgeted it, the next council can't balance their budget by
Right.
taking that money that's above
Right.
the 2% that you need.
Yeah.
And then balancing the budget.
yeah, I just think it's fiscally sound. So what is the pleasure of the council?
Did we not vote on it last time?
We did. So I'm just asking about the others.
I don't
Do
think
you wanna-
we have to take any action on that.
Great, perfect. Works for me. Okay, so then the next one is the bulk waste. Heidi and Chris, you met with,
We did.
We did.
and how was that? They met with the Mr. or I don't know if it's
The
Mr.
Rambo brothers,
Rambo brothers.
Tim and John.
Where's Dennis?
And Gordon came with us too. So basically, he told us that the deck is stacked against us. They're making it very difficult for us to meet the new goals that they keep setting. So we just talked to him about what we had talked about before, having people get a permit to get rid of a couch. And, you know, we went through the things that they most commonly pick up that shouldn't be picked up. And their only concern is they don't want to be the police. So we would have to enforce it. No, Gina.
Come on, Gina, you don't want to be the
No.
furniture police?
But what they did say, like,
Happy
we
birthday,
make,
by the way.
we make a list of things, couches, recliners,
Construction
beds,
material.
construction material, people have to get a dumpster for, that's on the permit now, right?
Yeah.
Right? So they won't pick any of that up. They did say, you know, we had the green
Yep.
sticker, if a permit was paid for.
Mhm.
And that tells Rambone, okay, it's paid, we can pick it up. If they see something that does not have a green sticker, they are fine with carrying the red stickers that say contact the town hall. They had no problem putting that on there. They just don't want to police it. Go ahead, Sterling.
They also said that we should
Yeah.
number them,
He gave us.
Oh.
so nobody could take it on their printer and copy them.
That's what he said. I hadn't even thought about that. I thought,
Yeah.
you know, people are gonna be honest, they're gonna go on, they're
They're
gonna
not gonna
print
be
out
honest,
this
they're already
thing.
throwing their trash.
And
out
he's
there.
like, yeah, they'll
So-
be
So how do-
counterfeiting these
How do
things.
we know in the present state? How do we know that they're picking up stuff and getting it weighed and adding it to the bill with or without a
They-
sticker? How
Well,
do we know that there was a sticker there?
There hasn't. been.
It would have to, they would have to see this, they would have to
And-
see this to pick
Okay.
it up.
And they're willing to do that.
Right, what we're saying is, that okay, make
Microphone.
believe I'm driving down the road in the dump truck or the garbage truck.
Mhm.
I see a piece of furniture on the side of the road with a sticker, I pick it up,
The green.
I throw it in the truck, yeah.
Yep.
I drive down the road to one with no sticker, I throw it in the truck, I get to the center and I weigh my
No,
load.
no, they won't pick it up if
They
it
won't
does
pick it
not
up if
have.
it doesn't have the green.
what they do right now,
They're picking up stuff now they shouldn't pick
But-
up.
Look
but
around, there's a lot
here's-
of couches
here's what
around
they-
this
We say
town.
they're not gonna.
but here's what's happening. When his truck pulls up and there's a conglomeration of furniture,
Or bathroom refuse from when they remodeled.
hey, boss,
Okay,
they're calling him.
Yeah.
This is what we got. We got this, Okay. He'll tell them, take this piece and leave the rest. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And
He
then,
takes one piece and leaves the rest, and then next week takes another piece?
no, no, then he gave a couple of incidents that they had, and they went back, and the guy got mad at him
For not taking it.
We're not taking it?
for not taking it. So they don't want to be the police. They don't
get
want to
that.
say,
That's a good point, right? That's fair.
my guys are not gonna act, and you know what they
We're not getting
did?
into a confrontation.
They didn't pick up any trash. They
Right.
just drove away.
So anyway,
Okay.
this, we're spending 60,000 over a year, right, Kelly? And overweight about 60,000.
The last, we're, I would say the last, sometime mid.
Your microphone's not on.
Mm,
Sometime in mid-April, May and June, for whatever tonnage that is. We're paying $115 per ton versus the lower rate of 58 or something.
Hey, Gordon, can I ask you a question? Do you think? I know you were for that, we've been talking about this for 4 years. But do you think that the stickers will keep them honest and they'll only pick up things with stickers? Are you confident with that? 'Cause you have the
Rambone,
experience.
yes, Rambone, if we give him instructions to do, he will follow them instructions. The refuse comes under the DPW position for policing. So that would be my responsibility to be the bad guy to go out there. So let me just elaborate again. I've said it before. She just mentioned $115 a ton. Every single year I have to do a fiscal audit required by the Rhode Island landfill. It's already a game stacked against us. They make it impossible to meet. So they'll give us a recycling. Let's say last year was 22%. They may go up this year. We're gonna require you to go up to 22%. They get the population of the town. They know how many people living here. They know by science and numbers statistically how much normal household waste is to go to the curb. Normal household waste. They will give us a tonnage that we should, if we meet 24% recycling, we're gonna have this much tonnage that's gonna be not diverted like recycling, that's trash that goes in. So they'll go around and every truck from Foster that goes in gets weighed on the scale. Every single time that truck gets weighed, a slip is generated.
Yep.
They'll give us a year cap at $60 a ton. And they'll say, a town of this size with this much population, recycling this much is gonna create this much tonnage at the landfill. At $65 a ton, you get the municipal rate. Once you exceed that tonnage, you get what's called the gate rate, the guy coming in with a dumpster. The gate rate is $115 a ton. So we're being penalized, and here's where we're going over $60,000 to $70,000 a year. A bag of normal household garbage, let's say we go over 1,000 bags. You know how many couches, how much a couch weighs? How many bags of garbage will a couch weigh?
Bless you. Yeah.
So we can pick up couches and we can pick up recliners, but if we put a fee on it, it says, listen, the little old lady who's creating one bag a week is subsidizing the family of 6. That's just the way the system's set up. I've said pay-as-you-go bag is the best way to go. It's more equitable. But we don't have that. So we're gonna try and at least generate some revenue.
Right.
On the fees to pick up the couch and pick up the recliner and pick up certain things that, you know, bed frames and stuff like that. That somebody's willing to come down and pay. Now, everybody says they'll throw it on the curb, in the woods. I'm telling you right now, most of the garbage thrown on us is from the other town. So if somebody's gonna do it in Foster, they're gonna dump it in somebody else's town. So by at least generating these fees, it will be able to be put in a fixed account earmarked to offset that 60 or 70. If you get $5,000 a year, that's at least $5,000 ahead of the game you are. So the red sticker's not numbered. They're just put on, contact this number. They'll call the town hall. Hey, I have a chaise lounge or a recliner.
Sure.
And you'll have no one that says, oh, that's $25 for that. Okay, come on down. We will pick it up. Come on down, pay the fee. They'll be given a green stick with a number. The first person is gonna get number 1. Second person, they'll go off the ordinance, and you probably listed on the sticker, couch fee, recliner fee. And you'll check that. That'll be numbered. Now, when Ramon comes by, oh, it's got a green sticker, it's numbered, so it's not repeatable, and they'll know where we are with numbers, and they'll pick it up and go.
Okay.
that money gets set aside for Kelly to offset the overage.
So we all agree that's a great idea. It's a good start. We do need to stop the bleeding. But my question was, if there's 24% recycling and 76% trash, how do I know that Rambone or anybody is not picking up something that's not normal household trash and just throwing it in the truck and charging us for the tonnage?
They're picking up
What's
almost
the-
everything on the curb.
They are.
Yes.
Oh, it's gonna stop that, the stickers?
The
Okay,
sticker.
Yes.
but how do you police it? You're gonna drive around and check everybody's garbage?
No, they're gonna call him.
He said, I will do whatever you tell me to do.
So
You
if we
tell
say
me-
call Gordon
Okay.
and tell him.
All right.
Such and such a house has-
appreciate that, and this is not an.
It's not gonna hurt to try.
It's not.
And you're gonna get it, you're gonna get a house and do a cleanup.
I,
And I will come and say, listen, you saw it on Route 6 next to
Yeah.
Luggers. That was a house cleanup. You just saw one on Cucumber Hill Road.
right,
by the Walmart.
you told us one guy renovated a bathroom and
You-
everything went out to the curb.
I have the authority under my position to be in charge of refuse, to go to that house and say, listen, it's my determination that I've told Rambone not to pick that
Okay.
up. That exceeds a normal council requirement. You're gonna be required, and I've done this at least a dozen times. You're gonna be required to purchase another dumpster. They've been told they're not picking it up, and that happened right over here. They have tiles, bathroom tiles. You know, that's heavy. So at the end of the day, I'm the bad guy. I don't mind. The first thing they're gonna say is, I pay a lot of taxes in this town, but when you see something like that, those people are packing up and leaving already.
Yeah.
You know what, and this is, I'm saying this with all due respect. But we talked about this months ago, and I think it was you that said that they know they're not supposed to pick up stuff and they pick it up anyway. That's why I asked, why are they gonna change now?
To a
Because-
degree, they do make decisions. If it's something like a couch or something, they sometimes will leave it, sometimes they won't. They'll, if there's plaster and stuff, bags of plaster, which I've seen where people remount, I've told them to leave it, and they do leave that stuff.
All right.
And if I see a big, obviously, a clean out, I'm there knocking on the door.
But they
Okay, so
told,
you're confident.
they told us that they will do whatever
Whatever.
we tell.
Okay,
I think it
And
doesn't
it is
hurt
worth
to
it.
try. Let's
Exactly.
try it.
you're right.
Yes.
Give it 6
Absolutely.
months, see what happens.
We didn't have a system before.
Right.
Right, so let's
We
try.
gotta
it.
start
Okay.
somewhere.
Well,
Exactly.
we'll
Perfect.
So,
Thank
We'll
you.
have to fine tune it a little bit more, figure out how we go about getting the stickers and how it will
Okay.
work. We'll have to talk
so
to Sue.
can we just make a motion that we're going to move forward with a sticker system for bulk waste?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in
job.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
And then you can come back to us and let us know what,
Got all that,
what,
Kayla?
how much it's gonna be.
Yeah.
What?
$150. We're gonna make up that money quick.
All right, so now we have the police station update. Mr. Brayton, you're here. I am. So, we had a meeting just before this meeting. And, the Grant and Kelly and Mr. Brayton have come up with an RFP. Or an RFQ, I guess it's called. Listing everything, the committee has approved it to move it forward to the council for your approval. It would be advertised as it was the last time. We're looking for a proposal due date of August 15th.
It's fast.
Yes, we want it fast.
Hmm.
So that's why we're looking for it to be on tonight to get the approval, because the RFQ notification would go out July 22nd, which is Monday.
Okay.
So that's. I have a copy of it here if anybody wants to see it, or I'll have. We can have it sent out to you to look at.
Thank you. Email,
Get
an email? Thank you.
but, okay, we can
She
send it up.
Some emails.
Okay, so I can't, Kelly
Kelly can.
can.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I would appreciate a motion.
It's not on the agenda.
It,
Well, I mean, you've got police station update, but you don't have.
I have police
RFQ.
station update. Yeah, I put on there. Yeah, we can do. I put
I'll do
on
that.
there, review
Okay.
of committee recommendations.
Okay.
I would like approval to post this, yeah, it's with the stipulation. So, yes. The RFQ, with approval of council. solicitor to review to be distributed on Monday, July 22nd.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Denise, did you want me to wait until Julia looks at it and then send it to the whole council? So when you're done, I'll forward it.
She's
to
gonna
them
go,
tomorrow.
before she takes a nap.
Oh, she's,
Good.
So Julia, if you'll send it to me tomorrow, I'll forward it to everybody after. Okay, thanks.
So, that is the update. I'm trying to find my agenda here. Oh, yes, I knew there was something else. So we no longer have the architect. And Kelly and Grant have been discussing the concerns. We want to do this right. And so to have somebody as a consultant, and we've been discussing that and how to do it, and we have the monies put aside. It'll be cheaper than an architect, and moving forward with that.
It will also
Kelly?
be cheaper than doing it twice or 3 times or making mistakes and having to pay the price for it later on. It's just, I don't feel comfortable in that role. I don't think Grant felt comfortable in that role. We
Mhm.
need a little bit of professional
what-
guidance when it comes to
What
that.
exactly is the consultant going to do? Just-
So when the
Okay.
help us with answering questions that are going to come up from the RFQ.
Mhm.
Also helping us evaluate, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, helping us evaluate the bids as they come in and help with the building committee and making recommendations. That was my understanding. If you have a different one, Denise, and now's the time. but-
And is this a consultant that will stay on through the completion of the project?
I believe that might be a different role, almost
Right.
like a,
Okay.
Because
Talking about a construction man.
when you have
Clerk of the
someone,
Works.
when you have somebody that has bid on the project, and if they get it, they're gonna be overseeing things.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
did I leave out anything, Gordy?
Yeah, Gordy. We are talking about the possibility, as Kelly mentioned, it's a little bit different role. We will, going down the road, we will need to look at a clerk of the works role. You agree?
No, I disagree.
You don't need a clerk of the works for the project
Can you
anymore?
come up and speak? No, I know. I said you wouldn't have to.
No, you feel, yeah, it's okay. You don't feel confident we need a clerk now?
I think when we pick a contractor to do a design build as this proposal is.
Yeah.
They will have a clerk of the work.
Okay.
And I think the biggest decision we got to make with this contractor is if they're qualified to do it.
Understood.
And there is, there's some people that are going to bid on this that could almost be left alone.
Mhm.
I think well, yeah, leave it at that.
Okay, so and the other thing,
So-
but I had one more question, and what is the cost of this consultant? Do we know?
The cost of what?
It's late to the building committee.
Yeah, because we don't know how much we're going to need a consultant for.
Okay, so it's gonna be an hourly, I mean, or,
I'm not so sure. It kind of decides how the RFPs come back.
Okay.
Whether we need a consultant or not.
So.
Okay,
I
so this
think-
is not a
we
given.
don't need to vote on this tonight then? This
No,
is just
because we're going to
Okay.
have another meeting after, where's my note?
August 13th, August
After the
15th, a
15th.
Thursday night,
After the
right,
August 15th meeting, we're
Right.
going to have
right.
a meeting to,
I thought.
I mean, if it becomes a real circus and we can't decipher the quotes coming in,
Right.
then we definitely need a consultant. I think we will a little bit, but I can't tell you how much time or how much.
I
We're
just thought-
thinking a
wait,
lot.
I'm hoping we
the
don't.
agenda. I was
I
looking for
put
a
it on the
motion.
agenda to
Okay.
cover all bases.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
Yeah.
thinking we needed to hire a consultant to get to where we are in the RFQ, but we
Right.
had a guy that actually came forward that does that work and just did it for us.
Excellent.
So that's how this whole consultant,
Now, if we could just get to build a building,
yeah,
yeah.
you might draw a line there.
pro bono.
So, okay, so basically I need, did we already do that motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we voted on it?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So next we have the townhouse renovations. So I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we had Bill Gould came and is doing the sill survey, and he met with Gordon and Chris, right? And
Yes, ma'am.
they had taken off several of the shingles to look at what's there. The grant that we have now is for painting
It's
the
not just for painting, it's for doorway repair. For the bottom door and the top door.
door.
Doesn't make any sense to use that money when the sills are all gone.
So
Now, I'm not sure if they have a deadline to use that money
they do, they
by.
have to use it by a year.
So
within a
when did
year.
they get it?
Grant, do you know when they got that grant? The Champlin grant that Mike Antonellis, yeah,
I don't know exactly.
Mike Antonellis had been working on it though.
Yes.
And then there was confusion, so they gave us an extension of a year. So I think that happened like in May.
But it doesn't make any sense to me to repair anything. Because you gotta start over again.
So what I spoke with Ed Robinson, I spoke with Bill Gould. I know you guys did. Painting or repairing the townhouse is gonna cost a significant amount of money.
It's a major
A major,
repair
and we can't,
because it's a plank building.
right.
I don't know if everybody understands what a
Historical. It's historical.
plank building is, but you have to go up and hang those planks.
Can't splice.
You can't splice them.
But the
They gotta
other,
be whatever they are, 12 feet, 14 feet, 16 feet. He has to go out and find that.
so, but the other problem is what I was told, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were both there. Is that when the townhouse was raised umpteen years ago and they put in a new foundation, when they put the townhouse back down on the foundation, it wasn't squared off. So that's where the problems are happening with the sill and where that's lowering. So it needs to be raised again. Okay.
No, that,
That's what I was told.
Gordon Rogers, 61 Kikkoman Highway Director. The major problem was they were about ready to paint it.
Right.
And painting over something that's rotted, so they did an investigatory. We spent about $3,000 to have him strip up the south side clapboard. What he found was, if you ever seen an old barn, you ever see them how they sell them, they take the clapboard, all you got is all this posted beam framework. It doesn't have studs. So what he found was the side towards the fairground fields, the sill, vertical up and down sill is rotted where it's floating in the air, and the bottom sill is rotted. The other side is rotted also, but what's really holding the building up is the staircase that goes up. So the reason for the rot is not the building being positioned. We can work with that. The reason for the rot is if you go in that south side where the little wheelchair ramp is, it was backfilled right to the sill plate elevation. So over the years, the water had nowhere to go and it rotted the sill plate up that high. So to fix that, they have to go up to that framework and run boards down. You can't splice a board. So they'll have to take it up to that height, repair the boards in the sill plate and tie it all back in. And then the final thing is to remove all that dirt and get 6 to 8 inch, which is code now, of foundation reveal, so you don't have that rotting again. So that's the final phase of it. It's off an inch, inch and a quarter. That's really not a big issue. It's the rot. Why are you gonna paint a building when it's gonna be rotted behind it?
Okay, so I have an email which was put in your sugar sink, and I'm just gonna read one portion of it. It's from Ed Robinson, who's the preservation president, and he had a discussion with Mr. Gould regarding this because of the Champlin grant, that the town's option at this point is to wait for Mr. Gould's written report and the attendant quote, which they contracted him for. And at that point, make an informed decision as to what we wish to do. However, the contract based on the Champlin grant will require that he close up the area currently exposed using the material that was removed. He had ensured Ed that they could verbally, that he would be, when he opened the side of the building, that the building was not in immediate danger of collapse, but that it would require restoration in the near future, and that he would close up the side after he completed his assessment. He still has 3 other sides to attend to, but not before Old Home Days. So he's saying he can put those boards back on.
For $3,000.
Yeah.
He didn't.
He was gonna charge you to put them back on. That's the
But that
discussion.
comes out of the Champlin grant. It does not come out of the.
No, that exploratory work came out of the town, not the grant. That was billed through me. The issue was that this property needs to be repaired and we would move forward. Or we keep paying, this is what's the matter. You pay $3,000 to put that up. Take it all back down.
That. I think. We don't have the money to do what we need to do.
I would agree with. My understanding was that it comes out of the Champlin grant. And it has to be
It
closed.
doesn't make sense to me to spend good money after bad.
Mhm. I would
So
agree.
I would think the town residents would appreciate that and tolerate the blacktop paper.
Mhm. Okay. What's the pleasure of the council?
Well, what happens to the grant?
We have to, it has to get painted.
So.
And you have a year to do that.
Okay.
So.
Maybe they can paint part of it, Cheryl?
I just received the text that they can't hear on Zoom.
There was a brief outage with some interference with microphones. We're back. It was about a 7-second period.
Thank you. Love technology.
So we don't have to take any action. We just gotta wait. and
right.
get back from him.
We have to wait for him to,
Yeah.
to
He's
give
gonna
us an estimate, so
estimate.
we
Okay,
can look at it.
I just wanted to.
But he did
Well,
$50,000 to $60,000.
I know. Okay. Moving on, recognition of Chief Lindell in Who's Who, and you have it in your packet. Would somebody like to read it? I've been doing a lot of talking tonight. Anybody want to read it? I have a hard
just gotta-
copy.
Oh, you do?
Of course.
Okay, I'm gonna need glasses, I think, for this.
Okay.
Small
Oh,
print,
you
I
got
got
them.
them. I got
Okay.
them.
Missy
It's
over
just
there.
small.
Who's who?
Okay. Hey, Marquis Who's Who.
We know who she is.
Honors Gina Marie Lindell for expertise in law enforcement. Gina Marie Lindell is honored for her contributions to public service. Ms. Lindell's leadership is characterized by a commitment to excellence and integrity, fostering a culture of respect and professionalism within the department. Foster, Rhode Island, June 11th, 2024. Gina Marie Lindell has been recognized for inclusion in Marquis Who's Who, as in all Marquis Who's Who, I'm having a hard time, Who's Who, biographical volumes. Individuals' profiles are selected on the basis of current reference value. Factors such as position, noteworthy accomplishments, visibility, and prominence in a field are all taken into account during the selection process. Ms. Lindell is recognized for her leadership as the Chief of Police of the Foster Police Department in Foster, Rhode Island, a role she has held since 2022. In this capacity, she oversees all department operations, ensuring that law enforcement services are delivered effectively and efficiently to the community. Ms. Lindell's leadership is characterized by a commitment to excellence and integrity, fostering a culture of respect and professionalism within the department. Before her current role, Ms. Lindell served as a state trooper in Rhode Island from 2000 to 2023, impacting community safety. Her expertise in commercial enforcement was particularly notable. Ms. Lindell's dedication and service over two decades are a testament to her commitment to law enforcement. In addition to her law enforcement career, Ms. Lindell has pursued certifications that reflect her diverse interests and skills. She is a licensed physical therapist assistant and a licensed horse show judge in New England. Ms. Lindell's professional affiliations underscore her dedication to law enforcement and community service. She is an active member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association. These memberships provide her with platforms for collaboration and professional development, allowing her to stay abreast of best practices and emerging trends in policing. Away from her professional responsibilities, Ms. Lindell enjoys giving back to local and national organizations and initiatives by donating proceeds from homemade crafts. Ms. Lindell credits her success to the foundational values she instilled in her parents' restaurant business while coming of age. The environment taught her invaluable lessons in dealing with diverse personalities and emphasized the importance of respect for others. Additionally, Ms. Lindell's practical listening skills and open door policy for her staff have contributed significantly to her reputation among the community and colleagues at all levels. She firmly believes that while being strict and focused is essential for a police officer, having compassion is equally crucial to being an effective police officer. Eager for the future of her career, Ms. Lindell has set ambitious goals for the Foster Police Department. She aims to secure funding for its development towards modernization, including providing extensive training and education for newly recruited officers. Through these efforts, Ms. Lindell is committed to enhancing the department's capabilities and ensuring it reaches its full potential as a leading law enforcement agency and protecting and serving the residents of Foster, Rhode Island. Yeah, I believe about that. That's it.
Would you like to say something? Chief, would you like to say something?
They forgot one thing, chief.
Yes,
She likes long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
Thanks, David.
I've heard of Marquis Who's Who. Sort of, but I was nominated and I don't know who nominated me for, this. It's one of the oldest. It's like one of the oldest recognition of, professions in the world, actually, and so I'm very honored. I'm very, very humble. And everything that my friends think I wrote this. I did not write this about myself. I would have put some really good stuff in there had I. But this was over two interviews that they called from New York, and it was about a two and a half hour interview each. And they did a good narrative, I think, based on all of the things that we had discussed. But basically, I do want to recognize both of my deceased parents, and they're the ones that I thank. So thank you very much.
Well deserved. Absolutely. So, next, we have, the next two items were requested by Ms. Hawes, and they are on the agenda. You will note that it states the DPW director. It does not name a person by name. We are not here to discuss the person by name. We are not here to discuss job performance. This is strictly in reference to the or a DPW director. So there will be no conversations regarding the current DPW director. That's not what it was for. It would be a violation. Our current DPW director, Mr. Rogers, has not been notified of this agenda item because it is not in reference to job performance. That being said, Ms. Hawes.
I would like to make a motion to appoint interim DPW director Harold Shippey.
Second.
You do not need to recuse yourself. This is for DPW director. I thought you were going to ladies' room. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
You do not need to recuse yourself. You are a member of this council. It is not in reference to
Okay.
your spouse. It's in reference to DPW director.
You can trash that one too.
So, sorry, I saw you get up and I thought you were going to the ladies' room.
No, I put that
So
in.
we've had a motion, it's been seconded, discussion.
Is Harry Shippey even willing to do this or have been advised of being appointed as the interim director?
Yes, thank you.
Harold Shippey, 49 Mount High Road, foreman, highway department. As my job description reads, if there's an absent of the highway director, I would take it over until one would be found, but I'm not looking for the job. I've done it before. I had a bad time. We had no salt and everything else for, 4 months I did it. I'm happy right where I am. Whatever happens, I'll do the best of my ability, but I'm not looking forward to it. No.
But you will do it if.
That's what my job
requested.
description
Okay.
requires.
I just for clarification, I asked for this to be put on because it's been left hanging since January. And I feel that I've been trying to get this done for quite a while. It's not that it just came up, so. That's my motion.
And I feel like I have to state, when this first came up, we were advised by council that if it was a 2-2 vote, it would remain as is. It was decided at that time that it remains as is until the next election, and that the next council, our current DPW director, would continue as is, does not have a contract, but would continue under the old contract to the point where there is a new council and that new council would vote.
Well, my feeling is after checking with several specialists in teachers, professors, authors that have written about parliamentary procedure, that there was a difference of opinion on the 2-2 vote and what it meant. And I don't believe that we did what we were supposed to do. At that time, I wanted to make a motion then to put in place an interim director and was instructed that I could not. And then I later found out from many people educated in that field that practiced that, that was wrong information. And I believe a couple other people found that out as well. So I am picking up where we left off in January, and I am making the motion to appoint interim director, Harold Shippey.
And yes, you've brought that to my attention. And as I've said to you and several other people that brought it to my attention, those people are not going to represent us in a court of order or court of law. So I will go on the advice of the council that we have hired and that we appointed. And I would not vote to approve this. So, any further discussion? It's in reference to the DPW position. Go ahead. What would you like? You need to come up and state your name and address.
Kathy McElroy, 18 Barb's Hill Road. I wanted to take umbrage with the council's directive that a 2-2 vote or 2-4, 2 against means that the person stays in the position. You were voting on the renewal of a contract, not on the person, on the renewal of the contract. The contract was not renewed. And an interim or a motion should have been made at that January meeting to either continue the current DPW in the position until such time as either a new one or there was more discussion on the contract. Nobody did that at that time. And so now you're in the position of
Thank you.
that you're in.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I don't want to leave this for a new
Yeah,
council.
I would like
I don't wanna leave
clarification.
this for a new council to decide.
One second, please.
Yes, could you clarify, please?
That issue is covered in the contract. That's a term of the contract.
Exactly.
So, thank you. So, Cheryl, you were saying,
I don't believe that this is something that we should leave for a new council to determine. I think that this is our responsibility, and I think we should accept that, and we should do what I believe is right. What we should have done in January.
any further discussion? I'll leave it up to the council now to vote. The motion has been made. The motion has been made and seconded to appoint an interim director, Harold Shippey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
It does not pass. The next one is mute. What'd you say? Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to the hazard mitigation.
Well, wait. Let me think about that, because you're leaving him in, but he doesn't have a contract. We can still post positions. So I make a motion that we post the position at this time for new DPW director.
Okay, Cheryl's made a motion. Has it been seconded?
Second.
Discussion.
My point is, it's the same thing. This person has not been hired, is not under a contract. So we're still in the same position that we can post this position at this time for a new DPW director. And I'd like to do that.
Council?
You can, but the term of the contract is the holdover capacity, whether this person's appointed.
It was on.
It was on today.
Appointed, whether you appoint someone interim or they hold it pending the hiring of someone new.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded.
It has.
Same thing.
It has been made and seconded. I'm just thinking my vote. So give me a moment. Thank you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, so the motion has been made to post the DPW director's position. Do you have a time frame?
I'd like to post it immediately.
And when would you have it closed? And when would you, usually we leave it open until we have the position filled.
And
then we interview, we have a committee, et
Right.
cetera.
And I would like to.
And do you consider that being done? Group,
right.
Lawyers. So it is now middle of July. So let's just think it through. I need my rationalization. It's middle of July. So you get it out. I don't know, Monday.
Next week, yeah.
Monday. So now you give it until whatever. Do you think, so you've got August, September, October, November. Can't count November unless you do it before November 8th. And I think that would be pretty crappy of us to do that. Let's be honest, Cheryl. That would be pretty crappy of us.
Well, it depends on your view.
I think
the whole
I
thing's
think
been
that
done
would be,
mishandled.
I think that would be pretty crappy of the next council, and maybe because I'm sitting here not running again. But I certainly, if I was running again and I was elected, I would be opposed to another council before November, that month of November, saying, here's who you're gonna get for 3 years.
I don't see a problem with that. It's been dealt with before and it's been done before, and I've been on the receiving end, so.
It hasn't been done before with a 3-year contract.
No.
It's been when it's right, and that's why we have a 3-year contract.
Right.
So that you don't get somebody, and
Right.
it's a revolving door position.
Right, which is what it used to be.
It is what it used to be, and so now we have a 3-year contract. Good for us.
Well,
So you're looking at August, September, October, 3 months to
Uh-huh.
and you think you're gonna get it done?
I won't know unless we try.
Okay, so the motion has been made, it's been seconded. I know you got your hand up. I just need to think before you say something. You need to leave. Go ahead, Mr. Rogers.
First of all, I shouldn't have to be going through this in the way this.
It's not you.
So
It's not you.
I-
Please don't make it you. Please don't make it you.
I'm an employee, so I'm gonna read the paragraph in my contract that the solicitor referred to when it went 2-2. It's clear and unambiguous on a contract that this council signed and I signed, and it's in writing. Should the contract expire, which it did, on December, I got hired December 28, 2020, over 3.5 years ago. The employee, that would be me.
We weren't gonna
I'm
have
reading the
this
contract
discussion.
language.
Well, then stop referring to yourself because
All right.
I was trying to make this not an
Should,
attack.
should the contract expire, the employee shall continue to serve in a holdover capacity at the pleasure of the employer, pending contract negotiations or the appointment of a new interim or permanent director of public works, unless otherwise mutually agreed upon by both parties. And that's the decision.
It was not mutually agreed upon.
And that was the decision that was
Grant, don't
relayed.
get
I'm
involved.
just reading the contract.
Honestly, Grant, do not get involved. He has an MOU that he wants.
He's resigned.
He has an MOU he wants.
I move the question. Motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. Moving on, hazard mitigation.
I do have a question though, I'm sorry, for the record. The vote is the vote, but when a council member votes on a financial gain for a family, I think it's illegal and inappropriate for her to be allowed to vote.
We weren't talking about, we were.
It's financial, it's a job of financial gain, I think it's ethically different than that, sorry,
And
but it stands.
I
And
thought
The
you,
vote
I thought you
stands.
clarified.
No, we agreed, we weren't talking,
Right.
we didn't name a name.
All right, we got too many
I'm
conversations.
voting on
We have
financial
too many
gain.
conversations going on at once.
And I will look into the ethics of that.
She did not vote to appoint her husband anything. She did not vote to pay her husband anything. He was already in that position. And just posting it doesn't automatically.
I agree, I understand what the ambiguity is.
I don't think.
But when you vote on a job that adds to your household financial gain, it's an ethical violation. I apologize, but that's my opinion.
I agree with you.
It doesn't matter. You know what? It's a moot point, Julia. It's a moot point because a 2-2 vote would have stood. A 2-2 vote wouldn't pass. So Denise voted no. Chris voted no. So it's of no consequence. So I just wanted to make it known that I want people who are concerned that are watching, because it's gonna come up, that it was a bad decision. It wouldn't have changed anything, albeit it wouldn't have changed a thing. So let's just be reminded of that.
Moving on to hazard mitigation. The draft review, you have it within your packet. We have a time frame. It is now available for all the townspeople to review. It is up on the website for you to review. Grant, we're going to be voting on this when?
August meeting.
August 8th. We have been approved to adopt it or approve it prior to the state approving it or giving us permission for it.
Oh, there it is.
What's that?
So
Careful.
what do we,
So I'm just letting you know, we need to review it at the August 8th meeting.
oh, okay, so you don't.
Where
need a-
we don't need anything. I just wanted
All right.
people to be aware so that at the August 8th meeting, we can um, discuss it at that time. But the residents should also review it. Moving on, you have within your packet a letter from the Shara Parry. She is on the Recreation Committee. She submitted a letter of resignation. Would somebody like to?
I'll make a motion to accept, where is her name? Oh my goodness, I don't have it. Kira, I couldn't find it in here. Kira Perry's resignation from the Recreation Committee with regret.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let her know. Thank you. Moving on to, we did the grant writer, budget overages. Oh, Kelly.
It's not so
So I
good.
just wanted to
Oh, yeah.
make you aware, because I feel like, why should I suffer alone?
Oh, I have plenty of reasons why.
So we passed the budget, everything was great. By July 1st, we were already something like $15,000 over budget, which is ridiculous. So I just want to, actually, it's a little bit more. So what happened was after we passed the budget, the state had already approved. The state,
Approved after we approved our budget.
right, the state presents actuarial assumptions for what the pension rates will be for our employees. And they settled something at some point with the retirees, and they increased their pension rates. So when I reapplied it, that was approximately a $10,000 or $11,000 hit townwide, and we're subject to it. So you have to, whatever rate they give you, that's the first time in 15 years that I've been, the state's done that. And then the other thing is our insurances for the trust. The insurances for the Rhode Island, no. The insurances for the Rhode Island Interlocal Trust were higher than we anticipated. So I would like us to consider and look into, we have a $5 million. We have a $5 million policy. We have a $5 million policy. We did that when we were working with Prism to take over the lights, because National Grid, which at that time was, it was Narragansett, it was, right, it was National Grid actually.
Yep.
Required it for some odd reason for a town of this size. That's very, it's exceptional. That additional $2 million is something like $10,000. So that could help us going forward. But I also wanted to point out now that we did have some credits from our workers' comp insurance that we're going to apply towards this. But just because we're going to try to remain somewhat within the budget for this, it is going to impact us going forward, because they're going to go up again next year. And it won't look like we funded even this year's. So that's a bigger hit in the next budget cycle. I just wanted to point out the few areas. And also our vision bills, which is our tax collections and assessment, were higher than we anticipated as well. So we're like $18,000. We're going to try to make adjustments through the year, but we've never been so
behind
on July 1st. So I just wanted to point it out.
We've had a couple of surprise bills.
Yes, so.
I just have a quick question. This is.
Yeah.
It is now.
Just out of curiosity, is it specific departments? Is it?
The pension will hit every department.
Is that the
Because-
overage right now, the 18 or 15,000?
That's $10,000 to $12,000 townwide. So every department will pay a portion of that. I budget exactly. So a budget, for example, the planner's budget, for example, you know exactly what their salaries are going to be, you know exactly what the pension and all the costs will be. So there's really not, and there's the smaller ones, like think of, social services. All there is to our budget is their salary. So, for example, that will be an overage that we'll try to make up somewhere else, or maybe I'll hit contingency at year end. But we'll still have to be restated for the audit and for, the state, because you have to put it in the account that it would actually go in. So that will hit all departments. The vision department will hit the assessor and the finance, which is mine, both mine. And, the insurance is
Did something
legislative.
go up that we weren't?
The
prepared
pension,
for?
they settled with
The state-
retirees.
Right, the state approved it after we had our financial town meeting, so we couldn't make that adjustment.
I see.
So the state approved.
Okay, I wasn't
increasing-
aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I wasn't aware of it either, so the first payroll, that was fun.
Thank you. Moving on to the survey of Windsor Road.
Sure.
Mr. Rogers.
He's
Oh,
not here.
okay. So, we had approved before a company to do the surveying on Windsor Road. Then after the time frame, two other companies came back with
Yeah.
figures. Chris, are you familiar with it?
They were, wasn't it?
I
vaguely remember it, but.
Coventry was 13,500. Foster was 8,500 with bounds, and Situate is $5,420 each for granite and $225 for rebar. And I think we had said that we wanted to go with granite.
Mm.
I
So,
wanted to put in something. that's
Permanent.
gonna
Permanent.
move.
Yes.
right, we
yes.
wanted granite. It looks nicer. So I don't know how many of those we would, it's 5,000. Situate seems to be the cheaper.
Do we have written quotes?
No,
All I have is reported and provided. Maybe emails.
this is it, right? Yep,
Right, that's what you linked? Yeah.
yep.
So they didn't submit actual.
I believe they did to him.
I'm
But
going
that's all I
to
have.
guess they're not gonna be able to identify the exact number of granite bounds that they would put in until the class 1 survey is completed, so they
Right.
know where it would go.
They
in.
know, I'm sure there's something that tells them they gotta put a
Right.
marker every so many feet.
No, didn't we already
We
give
did.
somebody a
We
deposit?
did, and I think Coventry would be willing to give it back when there was a miscommunication and it was only a section of the road, not the whole road.
Okay.
Uh, Given the potential litigation implications of the survey, I'd like to look at written quotes.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd like to get a commitment from Coventry that they're gonna return that deposit. I mean, I'd like a commitment that they'll do it, or
So-
actually a check.
I
I'll
actually
con-
already have an email.
Julie, I'll
I have an email
continue
back and
this
forth
to-
saying you'd like to look at you.
written.
Written
quote,
quote
like
from
to have
them
written quote
instead of a summary.
Instead of just
Okay.
this. So I will continue this to the August 8th agenda. Did you have a question? Yes.
Susan Joyce, Windsor Road. So I'm, I missed this along the way. Would it be possible to find out what the survey is for?
It's just to survey the road, the length of the road and the width of the road.
Potential
But
paving
we're going to be
later.
paving, a portion of the road. So we're looking at that and
All
how
right.
much it will cost.
We're paving the portion that's currently dirt?
It's from, Boss Road.
From Boss Road out,
So what, I don't know what the next.
So
road is.
101?
that's a piece of property.
Because the road was
Boston
just
Not-
paved
not all the way.
recently.
Not all the way. There's just a.
We're not
section.
going over it.
Okay, so there's the dirt portion from 101 to Boss.
Pine Tree. Yeah, Pine Tree to Boss
Okay.
Road.
All right.
Okay,
Boss Road. to
So then the
Pine
rest
Tree.
of it will be dirt? Remain dirt? I
Yes.
live on the dirt.
It's,
right.
it's a,
portion.
it's a washout issue.
Okay,
So we're just
Okay.
looking,
And the only way to really correct it, so we don't have to keep going back there, is pave it.
okay. Okay, thank you.
so, I will put this on to the August 8th and get written quotes. And something from Coventry saying that they will return the monies. Moving on, you have in your packet resignation from our town planner, Mr. McGregor. Would someone like to read that?
I will. To Honorable Town Council President and Town Council, please accept this letter of resignation from my position of Town Planner for the Town of Foster. My last day of employment as Town Planner will be July 30th, 2 weeks from today. It has been a pleasure working for the Town of Foster for the past year and a half. There was never a dull moment due to the timing and circumstances surrounding municipal planning in Rhode Island during my tenure as Town Planner. I am appreciative of the opportunities to take on new projects and develop my skills in the field. I wish the Town of Foster success in the future. Due to the foregoing, I have written a memorandum of agreement to continue working for the Town of Foster in a part-time capacity on specific planning department priorities that are set forth in the MOA. It is my opinion that the accomplishment of the priorities set forth in the MOA will lead to a smooth transition in the hiring of the next town planner. I am hopeful that the memorandum of agreement is accepted by the town council. Sincerely, Grant McGregor. I am so sorry to read this letter.
Mhm.
Denise, how would we can't lump the two together, the resignation and the MOA?
No, we have to do, so
So
we just accept the,
I make a motion to accept Grant McGregor, the planner's letter of resignation effective July 30th.
Second.
discussion.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you. You know how we feel.
Yeah.
Truly,
Brought
in
us-
5 years in the business, I haven't met a person that works harder.
So, thank you, Grant. All in favor?
I
Opposed?
Regrets.
Yes, with regrets.
So Denise, when we go to get Brent out of here earlier, we can
Move
move
it,
him
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I,
So-
she asked if there be a portion of that where I just get. So.
Okay. So, and in my, one second, and in my, I guess confusion in doing everything, I did not put down posting his position. So that will be on the August 8th. I would think we could do it and then.
I normally post the positions as they.
You don't have
Thank
to
you.
vote on
Vote on
it.
that.
Available,
Don't have
okay.
to vote, right?
All right,
That's what a town
No, no.
manager would do.
so, okay, so we're. And now I will accept a motion to. Go into executive
Take a
session.
5-minute break.
Yes,
You want that first or you want this first?
I want an executive session.
Oh my
I'm
goodness. I
sorry.
gotta-
Okay. Come on up, state your name and address, please. And I will tell you, we're not going to be able to answer it because it's not on the agenda. So you can state your,
Sorry, it was just about the town planning and then another comment.
okay, we may not answer your
Yeah, that's
questions
fine.
because it's
Yeah,
not
of
on the
course.
agenda.
Yeah, it's Beth Smith. I'm at 69 Foster Center Road. My question, I don't know, I couldn't tell what was going on up here, but since the town planner is leaving at the end of July,
Mhm.
what was the plan to fill that role? I couldn't hear. from
Oh, we're
back
posting
here.
the position.
Okay,
We're
so
gonna
that's
be
an
advertising.
immediate posting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I did have a comment. I would like to thank the town council for considering not having an abrupt decision on the charter amendment for the land trust, and we appreciate that it's not such a rushed process. So
Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys for that. It's nice to hear something nice.
So I gave.
Can you come back and talk?
Thank you. Yeah.
Just gotta go.
I asked if it would be, okay, if we did the police contract negotiation first in the executive session, that way I wouldn't be in and out.
All
of the
right,
building.
let's get the executive
We
session
gotta get the
first.
executive session going first.
All right, I'm gonna make a
Okay,
motion.
Thank you.
Then we take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah. I move to go into executive closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5 for the discussion of personnel according to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A1 for discussions and work sessions regarding collective bargaining, contract negotiations, or litigation according to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A2. And to reconvene in open session, and further to keep the minutes of said meeting closed and the minutes of all executive sessions held previous to this meeting be closed and remain to provisions of general laws of Rhode Island 42-46-4 and 5.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-minute recess. Oh, yes, I did. Thank you. Oh, perfect. Thank you.